Have you ever found yourself catching your breath after a simple walk to the mailbox? Or maybe you've noticed your energy dipping faster than it did a decade ago. You're not alone. In fact, many of us over 60 start to feel these changes, little reminders that our bodies aren't quite what they used to be. But here's the thing, those changes don't have to control your life. And when it comes to your heart health, there's something critical you need to know. Did you know that after 65, the risk of a heart attack doubles? It's a staggering number, isn't it? But before you let that worry settle in, let me share the good news. You have more power over this than you might think. Today, we're going to talk about simple, everyday choices that can slash that risk and keep you feeling strong, vibrant, and in charge of your health. No complicated diets, no extreme workouts, just practical, doable steps that fit right into the life you're already living. So, let's start with the very first habit, the one I call the foundation of forever. And that's what you put on your plate. Now, I know you've heard it a million times. Eat your veggies. But there's a reason it's said so often. As we age, our bodies crave nutrient-dense foods that fight inflammation, lower cholesterol, and keep arteries flexible. Think of your plate as a painter's palette. The more colors, the better. Bright greens like spinach and kale, deep reds like tomatoes and bell peppers, earthy oranges like sweet potatoes and carrots. These aren't just pretty to look at. They're packed with vitamins, fiber, and antioxidants that act like little bodyguards for your heart. But here's where most folks trip up. It's not just about adding the good stuff. It's about reducing the sneaky villains. Processed foods, sugary snacks, and that extra dash of salt might taste comforting in the moment, but they're quietly stressing your heart. Let me give you an example. My neighbor, Margaret, used to swear by her nightly bowl of ice cream and salty TV snacks. After her doctor warned her about her blood pressure, she switched to unsalted nuts and fresh fruit with a drizzle of honey. Within months, her numbers improved, and she told me, "I don't even miss the old stuff anymore." Now, let's talk about the second habit, moving your body in ways that feel good. I'm not talking about running marathons or lifting weights, unless that's your thing. This is about finding joy in motion. Maybe it's a morning walk where you notice the birds singing, or a gentle swim that makes you feel weightless. Even chair yoga or dancing to your favorite old tunes counts. The key is consistency. Just 30 minutes a day, broken into smaller chunks if needed, can work wonders. You see, movement keeps your blood flowing smoothly, like oiling a creaky hinge. It helps your heart pump efficiently and lowers stress hormones that can damage arteries over time. Take my friend Carl, who started parking at the far end of the grocery store lot. Those extra steps add up, he told me. Now I don't get winded carrying the groceries in. Small changes, big results. But here's what I want you to remember. None of this has to feel like a chore. It's about adding life to your years, not restrictions to your life. And the best part? These habits don't just protect your heart. They boost your energy, sharpen your mind, and even lift your mood. Now, I've got a few more game-changing tips to share with you, including one surprising habit that's not about food or exercise at all. It's something you're probably doing every day without realizing its impact on your heart. But we'll get to that soon. For now, why not pour yourself a cup of tea, grab a notebook, and let's keep this conversation going. Because Here's the truth. Your heart has carried you through decades of laughter, challenges, and love. Doesn't it deserve a little extra care? When I think about taking care of my heart, I'm reminded of this little plant here. It doesn't need grand gestures, just consistent attention, a little sunlight, and the right environment to thrive. And just like this plant, your heart thrives when you create the right conditions for it. We've already talked about nourishing your body and staying active, but there's another piece of the puzzle that's just as important. And it's something we often overlook as we get older. Let's start with something we all do every night, but rarely give much thought to: sleep. Now, I'm not talking about the occasional afternoon nap, though those are lovely. I'm talking about quality sleep. Deep, restorative rest is like a nightly tune-up for your heart. When you're asleep, your blood pressure dips, giving your arteries a chance to relax. But here's the catch. As we age, sleep can become elusive. Maybe you're waking up at 3 a.m. for no reason, or you feel like you're just skimming the surface of real rest. My brother-in-law, Frank, used to joke that he'd forgotten what a full night's sleep felt like. He'd watch TV until midnight, then toss and turn until dawn. But when his doctor explained that poor sleep was straining his heart, he made a few small changes, dimming the lights an hour before bed, swapping his evening coffee for herbal tea, and keeping a notepad by his bed to jot down worries instead of letting them race through his mind. Within weeks, he was sleeping through the night, and his morning blood pressure readings dropped noticeably. Now, let's talk about something that's not so quiet: stress. We've all had those days where the world feels heavy, right? Maybe it's family worries, health concerns, or just the pace of modern life. But here's what's happening inside your body when stress piles up. Your cortisol levels spike, your blood pressure rises, and over time that constant strain can damage your heart. The good news? You don't have to eliminate stress entirely, just find ways to soften its grip. Take my friend Helen. After her husband passed, she felt like stress had moved in permanently. But then she started joining a weekly knitting group at her community center. At first, she went just for the company, but she soon realized those 2 hours of laughter and focus left her feeling lighter for days. It's like I hit a reset button, she told me. Whether it's gardening, prayer, or even losing yourself in a good book, finding moments of calm isn't a luxury. It's a lifeline for your heart. Now, let's get to that surprising habit I mentioned earlier. It's something so simple, so ordinary, you might not realize it's a secret weapon for heart health: staying connected. Not to Wi-Fi or the news, but to people. Studies show that loneliness can be as damaging to your heart as smoking. But here's the flip side. A strong network of friends, family, or even a weekly card game group can lower stress, boost your mood, and yes, protect your heart. My neighbor Sam is a perfect example. After retiring, he spent most days alone in his house, and his health started slipping. Then he volunteered to coach his grandson's Little League team. Suddenly, he was outside laughing, cheering, and swapping stories with other grandparents. "I feel 10 years younger," he says now, and his cardiologist, she's thrilled with his improved numbers. But here's the key. Connection doesn't have to mean a packed social calendar. It could be a daily phone call with your sister, waving to the mail carrier, or even chatting with the cashier at the grocery store. Those tiny moments of warmth remind your heart and your spirit that you're not alone on this journey. Of course, there's one more habit we need to discuss, one that's often met with eye rolls, but could be the most important of all. It's about listening to your body's whispers, so you never have to hear its screams. But I'll let you finish your tea first, because here's what I want you to take away today. Protecting your heart isn't about fear. It's about freedom. The freedom to keep up with your grandkids, to travel, to savor the moments that matter. And every choice you make, from tonight's dinner to how you spend your mornings, is a step toward that freedom. So why not take one small step today? Maybe call an old friend, try a new herbal tea, or simply sit quietly for 5 minutes and breathe. Your heart will thank you for years to come. Our bodies have a way of talking to us, not with words, but with little nudges. A flutter in your chest, a hint of dizziness, a tiredness that lingers longer than it should. These aren't just quirks of aging. They're whispers from your heart, asking for attention. And that brings us to our final habit, being your own best advocate. Let me tell you about my cousin, Elaine. She'd been feeling off for weeks. A tightness in her shoulders she blamed on gardening. A shortness of breath she chalked up to allergies. But when she mentioned it to her doctor during a routine checkup, they discovered a blockage in her artery. Thanks to catching it early, she avoided a major crisis. Elaine's story isn't about luck. It's about listening. Here's the truth. After 65, regular checkups aren't just appointments. They're your frontline defense. Knowing your numbers, blood pressure, cholesterol, blood sugar, is like having a roadmap for your heart. And if something feels wrong, speak up. Don't downplay it with, "Oh, I'm just getting old." You deserve to be heard. Now let's tie this all together. We've talked about filling your plate with color, moving in ways that bring joy, prioritizing sleep, softening stress's grip, staying connected, and tuning into your body's signals. These aren't rules, they're tools. Tools to help you rewrite the story of what's possible after 65. Take my friend Lou. At 72, he thought his days of adventure were over. But after adopting these habits, he's hiking national parks with his grandkids. "I feel like I've been given a second wind," he told me. And that's what this is all about. Not adding years to your life, but life to your years. So, where do you start? Pick one thing. Swap that salty snack for a handful of almonds. Take a 10-minute stroll after dinner. Call a friend you've been missing. Small steps build momentum, and momentum builds change. Before we wrap up, I'd love to hear from you. What's one habit you'll try this week? Share it in the comments. We're all in this together. And if you found this helpful, pass it along to someone you care about. After all, heart health is a journey best traveled with company. Thank you for spending this time with me. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. We've got more conversations like this coming your way. And remember, every sunrise is a gift, a chance to choose strength, joy, and the quiet confidence of knowing you're taking care of that magnificent heart of yours. Here's to your health, your happiness, and the countless moments still waiting to be lived fully. Your heart's still got so much love to give. Let's make sure it keeps beating strong.